Please like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Robinson Crusoe, retold by Pauline Francis. Chapter 4, Footprint in the Sand. When I was fully well again, I decided to make my life as interesting and as comfortable as I could. I have been here for almost a year already. I signed to myself, and I have seen no other human being or ship. I have to accept that I might be there forever. I started to explore my island. I first went to the little inlet where I had brought in my raft from the ship. I followed it for 2 miles until I came to the stream of fresh clean water. Beyond, at the top of a hill, I found tobacco plants growing and many other plants whose name I did not know. Soon I came to thick woods and found them full of melon and ripe grapes. Perhaps I should move here, I thought to myself. It is safe for storm, but no, I decided I must be near the seashore to watch for passing ships. I will put a little tent here and I can say one whenever I want. I spent a night in these woods. In these woods, the first time I had there to stay away from my fort. I slept in a tree as I walked on the next day, past trees bearing cocoa, oranges, limes, and lemons. A feeling of great pride came over me. I was lord and king of all this country. Some weeks after the short explosion, I made up my mind to travel around the whole island. I found the other side of the island was much pleasanter. It was full of grass and flower goats and brightly colored parrots. After my travel, I realized that I had begun to think differently. I had a future further on the island. No longer did I feel a prisoner. No longer did I sit and wept for hours on end. It is possible for me to be happy alone, I said to myself, and even happier than I have anywhere else in my life. Almost thanked God for bringing me to this place. But I thought myself that would not be right. After all, still hoped that somebody would rescue me. Instead, I thank God for opening my eyes and for letting me see life in a new way. And with these thoughts, I began many 4 days for the year on the island. I had often thought of trying to reach the mainland. I tried to move my boat, but it was too heavy. Then I started to make a small canoe. How strange I must have looked by them. I saved all the skins from the animals. I killed, dried them. I made a great cap for my head with the hair on the outside to keep off the rain. This worked too well that I made clothes and shoes in the same way. I spent many weeks making an umbrella like the one I had seen in Brazil. Now I could walk out in the honest and bestest weather. It was 2 more years before I had finished my canoe. I dragged it into the water. I pulled a large tortoise and a jar of fresh water on the boat and pushed away from the shore. Suddenly, a serpent began to carry me out to the sea. Oh, happy island, I cried out. I shall never see you again. We do not apparent what we have until it is taken away from us. I prayed that the current would bring me back again to the shore, and it did. I gave up all thoughts of ever trying to escape again from the island. I lived happily for another 6 years with my animal and my parrot Paul, who talked to me all day long. One day, everything changed. I found the print of a man bear's foot in the sand. I stood still by the sea, frozen with fear for a moment. The man's footprint was very clear. I listened, I looked round me. I could see nothing. I could hear nothing. I walked up and down the shore. I could see only the footprint. I ran straight home to my fortress. I was terrified, all the time looking behind me at every 2 or 3 step mistake, every bush or tree for a van. And when I came to my castle, as I call it from the day, I felt inside like a man who is chased by wild animals. Never has a fox run to earth as quickly as I did that day. I did not sleep at all that night. Questions spun round in my head. Why was there only one footprint? There was the ship that had brought the man. Why should anyone want to come to my island after all these years? After much thought, I made my decision. This footprint must be that of one of the men who live in the mainland. I said to myself, the wind or the strong current have brought the canoe here. Then, with a kicking heart, I remember my own canoe. What if they have found it? I cried in torment. They might come back with more of the people to eat me. And even if they do not find me, they might find my animals and my food and eat it. Then I would die anyway. I was filled with fear again, as I have been when I first came to the island once. I had terrible with fear because I was alone. But now I terrible at the sight of a man's footprint. Perhaps I had made a mistake, I told myself. Perhaps the footprint is my own. This thought cheered me up a little. I even went outside to milk my goats. I saw nothing, and altogether I was still afraid. I became braver. I will go back to the seashore, I thought, and measure the footprint against my own. I went there straight away, looking behind me all the time. I put my foot in the footprint and stared in surprise. The footprint in the sand was much bigger, larger than mine. I shocked with fear and ran straight back home. For the next few years, I did everything I could to make me home from secure. I planted trees around it so that no man might get caught. I divided my flock of goats and kept 6 on the 3 different pieces of land all that hard work just became because of one footprint on the sand. Then I came across a sight far more terrifying than the footprint. Please like and subscribe. This is chapter 4, Footprint in the Sand. Bye bye. Thank you.